We'd like to bring you to the show Bob Turner. Bob Turner is the EducationField CISO for Fortinet, and he has a long career in education when he was at the University of Wisconsin. And Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gary, glad to be here. And what a topic!
Indeed, I'm going to start with something that you and I talked about, earlier in the week. It was a question that it just came to me, and I just want to repeat it. So ChatGPT, did it kind of break your heart when you saw this in terms of education and higher education and its potential impact, on education?
Yeah, I look at it as it's a tool, just like the internet is a tool. And I thought about it long and hard, and then I saw a couple of articles from academics as well as sort of the student perspective, and I'm still not convinced that having a tool that creates entire passages is a valuable learning tool. Essentially what it's doing is just plopping work out on the table. But then I started thinking a little bit, and I read from some academic folks that I truly admire, and it really comes down to the fact is it is a tool. So when you go to a website and you're using information from that website in an academic paper, you're citing the website and the author. When you utilize a tool, some code to perform work and get results, you're citing the tool's use and the results, and then you're going through the analysis of what the results give you. And I it gave me a couple of points that I think are important. Number one, is an algorithm a person? Can you cite an algorithm as the source of data? No, you really can't, because you are programming that ChatGPT to produce a result. You are telling it, here's the parameters, spit it out. Right. But it's also when you're citing a website, you're citing the attribution to the person. So do you cite yourself as the person who created the search string for the ChatGPT? And I kind of bounce that against the fact that students see it as a tool. I mean, several articles have been out there in the higher ed magazines and websites, and they're thinking that ChatGPT is a valuable tool. It helps, it saves time, it gets them a little more free time to do other things because it did all the thinking for them. But then again, is there really any kind of a quality framework for ChatGPT? I mean, is there a way to know if it's giving you good information other than taking what it produces and doing more research? Which, by the way, isn't that what learning is all about?
So, well, this is an interesting point you're bringing up. And one of our other colleagues, Sam Vissner from MITRE, early in the week when we were talking about this, did an interesting test that he relayed, which was there's an institution in Europe, I can't remember if it was INSEAD or just some very prominent educational institution, who decided that you cannot use ChatGPT in any way, shape, or form. And so Sam did something very interesting. He asked ChatGPT to create a policy about why an academic institution should not use ChatGPT. And Sam's response to what the ChatGPT gave him was one word. He said it was astounding. Mm-hmm. Which is reminds me of the Space Odyssey, Hal, sorry, I can't open the door. I mean, so how does an I mean, this is all early days, obviously, but so on one hand you have an institution saying, okay, no, you can't use it. The New York school system is prohibiting it, but then you have other people who are leaning into it. How do we make sense of all this?
First of all, there are a lot of universities and there are a lot of K-12 organizations that are saying, you can't use that as an academic source. And I kind of look at that as that's sort of knee jerk. What I really think is necessary is we can figure out ways to say yes. We can create a set of ethical boundaries. We can determine if there is actual learning occurring in the use of the tool. But the other thing we can do is we can make statements of law, ethics, and morality and associate those with ChatGPT as well, or any other AI tool. But I think the biggest part is starting in K-12, let's start inserting that into the learning process. So we used to say, go to the library, read a book, write a report. We can say, all right, go to the chat tool or any of the AI type tools and learn how to use it, and then utilize that to perform a function. And that then becomes real learning. I mean, you're using it for its intended purpose. It's a tool. It's not supposed to replace your brain working.